Hello, everyone. My name is Sara Merino Munive, and I will present to you the topic undergraduate students' experiences toward the inclusive education in ELT. Me and my partner, Rocío Barbosa Trujillo and Leticia Estudillo León, we did a research with our undergraduate students in the Faculty of Languages about how they work with special education needs in their experience practicum. That is the first time our students go to the real classes to teach. So, and we find many different interesting things that we like to share with you through this um, fantastic congress called FEL. Because of the distance condition of this pandemic, I will present just leave to you this topic. But if you have any question or any further question, you can contact me or my partners. Okay. So the title again is Undergraduate Students' Experiences Toward the Inclusive Education in ELT. So for starting this topic, I would like to talk a little bit about the concept of accessibility and inclusion. In this case, as accessibility refers to providing systems and solutions to optimize access in content, methods, and environments. So as a school or teacher, we need to provide out systems and solutions that methods, context, or access no, to, to bring all students to the class. Accessibility, I mean the physical accessibility, I mean by infrastructure. And of course, content, methods, and the environment. On the other side, we have that in learning environment, accessibility means designing learning experiences without barriers that allow all students to achieve the main pedagogical objectives. So without barriers, that is important, that we need to include all students, providing them education without barriers. But what is inclusion? Inclusion, according to the UNESCO, is defined as a process of addressing and responding to the diverse needs of all learners by increasing participation in learning, cultures, and communities, reducing exclusion with and from education. So the idea of this inclusion in the classroom is that we need to address classes and prepare education to receive all the diverse needs and students, so without barriers we mentioned, right? So inclusion is also a right and not a privilege. According to the UNESCO 2017, you don't have the privilege to be at school. The children have the right to be at school. According to the UNESCO 2017, also inclusion is a mindset that involves valuing the present, participation, and achievement of all learners regardless of their context and personal characteristics, and recognizing the benefits of diversity. I will close here so you can see all letters. Okay, better. So what are special educational needs? Special education is an umbrella term used to describe specially designed instruction that meets the unique needs of a child with learning difficulties, emotional or behavioral problems, development disorders, or physical and sensory disabilities, but also individuals with learning disability, but also gifted and talented students. So special education, that is that big umbrella that covers all kinds of students with physical disability, but also emotional disability or behavioral problems, but also those individuals that probably are not considered as special needs because they are gifted and talented. So we can have very talented students, and we need to know how to work with that student as well as that student that has depression. Depression is that problem that we cannot see. So we assume that there are some special education problems that we can see because they have the physical problems, but there are another ones like emotional and behavioral problems, but also talented or gifted that we cannot see. So we need to explore the classroom and identify what kind of special education needs our students have. Here we have a list of type of special needs. We can have from muscular dystrophy, multiple sclerosis, chronic asthma, epilepsy, blindness, visual impairment, deafness, dyslexia, and processing, and many others, as you can see in the C, and many others that are in this list that probably we can identify just with a look at the student. But there are many others that we cannot see. And also we need to know, first, be aware that we have them, and second, find a way to face that student and provoke the inclusion. Inclusion as a human right. Children with special needs have been excluded or marginalized from education for many years or centuries. Nowadays, countries around Europe have different ways and forms to support the education of students with special needs. But in general, children's right to inclusion education is widely recognized in international human rights law, considering that disability is an inevitably part of society. That is very important. We cannot exclude people from school, but also not from society, because we have that as a human right. So, inclusive education, sorry, is the aim of inclusive education is to respond to the learning needs of our children, whether their needs are. No, we have, as you see in that circle, we have different uh, ways or different possibilities to include to create inclusive education. It is not only have pedagogical benefit by addressing the learning difference of all students and confronting them with various learning styles, but also social benefits, as leads the children to become citizens who are open and tolerant and can live in peace and harmony with each other. So we have that including students in schools and also in society will give more benefits. You know, that is a very hard process. Now it's a very difficult, process of including those students in the classroom. But as well as society, we need to include them in the school, and that requires teachers training. And now, what can I do in my own classroom to support all students' needs? So what can we do now? That's the idea, no? That's the main issue. So learning differences and giftedness both impact the way children are able to produce and understand information. So first we need to be aware that we have different students with different needs. The spectrum of addressing special needs in a school environment can range from helping students to cope with simple tasks of daily life, allowing them to live an autonomous life, to reaching the full potential of individuals, not only cognitively, but also socially and emotionally. So, first identify, then support them with activities that they can do and going from their level. So I would like to talk about more about this topic, but as a summary, we present to you this schema where you can see all the ingredients, all the people or the elements that are around STEM students. First, we have family, of course, an expert on education, special education needs at school, because I mean, common teachers, we are not experts, so we need to have an expert. Teachers, staff, co-teachers, material and technology, the infrastructure, and involvement in daily activities. Okay, so with this schema, you will, okay, think about your school and identify if you have all of them to make the process of include that kind of students or those students in your school. No? Probably we need to work harder. So it is mentioned in that schema that we need to have teachers, we need to have a specialist, but also we need to have co-teachers. So we have this fantastic quote from Robert John Meehan that says, the most valuable resource that all teachers have is each other. Without collaboration, our growth is limited to our own perspective. So we as a teacher, we need to support each other and give the opportunities to others to learn that thing that we have and is probably a successful technique to share and support others. That's the key. So as I mentioned at the beginning, we did a research about how our students, these student teachers face the reality in a real classroom, but also with the reality of having special student needs in the classroom. So we did a research, and these are our purposes. First, we have to explore how students with teachers face working with STEM students during their teaching practicum. Two, to identify student teachers' attitudes, material, technique, and how the other teachers in the same school help them. And the last one, to raise awareness about working with STEM students in the ELT area. This research has two research questions that were how student teachers handle classroom with STEM students. And the second one, what activities or techniques teachers students develop for their classes. We use a mixed method, and we use an online questionnaire to voluntary participants. We have 8 student teachers, that have already taken the teaching practical. 3 of them were students, and 3 of them were teachers at the moment of the research. And they were another 2 students that were not students and also not teachers. The 8 of them were 3 in a public school and 5 in private schools. 3 work in kindergarten, 2 in primary school, 2 secondary school, and 1 at university level. The main problem they identified was attention deficit disorder and autism. Something that we need to mention is that a student teacher had no previous training, to teach special education needs students, and 2 schools had no infrastructure. They mentioned that, even though that school had special education needs students, they didn't have the condition. So in order to answer the first question, how student teacher handle classroom with STEM students, the participants answered, I tried to interact with him as much as possible, but I couldn't do much because their classmates took that as an opportunity to do whatever they want. So honestly, I couldn't solve much. Researching the condition of the methods, I gave the class right next to her to help her hear me talking, give the topic in a normal way to the whole group, and then explain carefully to the STEM student. I searched the information online, trying to know what the kids want. I had to ask to the main teacher. So they handle asking, supporting individually, We have another section that was support, who support them to work. And some of them, well, one of them said, no one helped me. Then another said, I tried to ask some teachers and found some books that helped me. No one helped me. It was mostly a mutual motivation. Internet, books, and my colleagues. I learned by myself. I read the inclusion policy of STEP. The English teacher of the schools and the principal teacher of the group said to me how to treat her. I had to ask my teacher and I looked for information about SEN students. So some of them find support or found support with their colleagues, but also some of them were alone, so they needed to find information in other sources by themselves. Research question number 2, what activities or techniques students develop for the class? One said, no, I just had the opportunity to interact with them like a month. So he didn't or she didn't implement any technique. Another say, I didn't need using a special technique. I use the technique of giving the class next to her every day, record the class and videos and use it always. Only ignore he has special needs and make him feel he is like his parents. Yes, I always tried to have my students with SEND seated next to me to help. My effective techniques was winning her attention. And the last one, I did not have techniques. I just tried to pay them more attention to those children. Something that we would like to identify in this research was the attitude of the student teachers before and after working with these 10 students. And we asked, what was your attitude? And they said, I haven't had the opportunity to work with 10 students ever since. Yes, because at this moment I was not aware that this kind of situation could arise. I think I hadn't considered it before, and it was important lesson as a teacher to not let their disability stop anyone from learning. Before they were shy, but later they were very active in class. Attitude is very important. It's the same. I have the idea to treat that kind of students like the other children. Yes, most of the teachers do not work an inclusive way because they don't have knowledge of training to do so. Here we have training, huh? Training is important part. Before my practices, I thought it was very easy or at least manageable. But when I experienced it by myself, I knew it is a really difficult task. It was very nice, and now I'm trying to be more strict. I was more patient with the children. You see how they changed their attitude and how they raise awareness about this situation. Finally, we ask them if they have any advice for future ELT, now that they have the experience. So I will read quickly their advice, but you can go through the lines, and I will just remark the most common thing we identify. So the first one said, I would say that they need to be very patient and empathic. The second one, I have to say that the better way to face the different students is the observation and researching the methodology. I will tell them to be extra patient. You have to be open-minded and know how to act quickly and have a lot of patience. Be patient and don't make them feel different. Read more about methods. Ask for the principal teacher help for not losing the whole control of the group. They have to be patient and figure out information about SEND students. If you see, we have here a common idea that you need to be very patient if you're going to be a teacher, and also read, research, and in general, train yourself, read, look for information that helps you as a teacher. So thank you, but thank you for your assistant. I thought I have another slide, but that is important. The advices we have here with our students is very nice. I would like to leave here our emails. So if you have any question or further comments, feel free to send us. And we would like to hear what do you think? What are your experiences using or working with STEM students? Thank you very much.